Sometimes I find it fun to think of a wedding like a little business. There are the joint CEOs, that's you and your fiancé, the finance department, which can be you and or your parents, anyone else who wants to give you money for your wedding, and human resources, which if you're smart, should be a very, very small team, ideally just you and your fiancé, right? Because the more people who have a say in who you're inviting, the harder it gets. Believe me. But then there are the big three roles that you may or may not have strengths or experience in, which can seriously affect how you enjoy the lead up to your wedding, your stress levels, sticking to your budget, or falling in a big hole with your budget, and also, perhaps more crucially, how you experience the day or days, in the case of a multi-wedding day celebration. And they are your COO, Chief Operations Officer, your Chief Marketing Officer or CMO, and your Project Manager or PM, who might be better known as your wedding planner, your wedding stylist, and your wedding coordinator. I'd love to let you in on a little secret. There are some magical unicorn type people who can fulfill all three roles of planner, stylist, and coordinator. Do you know what I call them? Angels. When I'm chatting with couples, I'm often asked what the difference is between all these vendors. And then the biggest question of them all, do I really need them? And the short answer is, it depends. It depends on you, your strengths, the time you have available, your experience, the standard you're expecting, your nature. Are you easygoing or do you flip out if the cafe doesn't have the milk you want for your coffee? And your personal talents in the fields that they specialise in. So in this episode, I'm going to break down for you, number one, the responsibilities and roles that a wedding planner, wedding stylist, and wedding coordinator fulfill at your wedding, in your wedding, before your wedding. And then number two, the personal skills and strengths, experience and talent you need to have to make sure you've got their role covered if you choose not to hire a pro for your wedding. Let's get stuck into it. Unbridely is a community of pro wedding vendors who believe in freedom and integrity in weddings, giving you options, solutions, tips and tricks to create the experience and memories that you and your fiancé really want and deserve. Because we believe that weddings are a team sport. With how-tos, stories and interviews with recently married couples, we find out what went right and what they'd change if they could go back and do it all over again. I'm Camille and welcome to the Unbridely podcast. We are going to start with your COO, your Chief Operating Officer or your wedding planner. In a business, they're the ones who focus on operational excellence, making things run smoothly, resource management, which means arranging for people and items to be in a certain place at a certain time to fulfill a certain purpose, and cross-functional collaboration, which in a wedding sense is working with all the people involved in your wedding towards a common purpose. In business, it's the organization's success. In this case, it's the success of your wedding. Basically, a wedding planner makes sure that every aspect of your wedding is planned and organized according to your vision. So what type of person would need a wedding planner the most? If you have the following personalities, strengths, and also situations, just the circumstances in which you live, you might benefit from having a wedding planner if, number one, you have a busy schedule. Number two, you value professional expertise. So if you appreciate professional insights and the experience that a wedding planner can bring to you, it's not the first time they've done it, 9 times out of 10. And if you want your wedding to be expertly managed, because planners bring experience, industry knowledge, and a network of vendors that they've worked with in the past, which makes sure you have a really well-coordinated wedding. This means it feels smooth. There's less stress leading up to and on the day, more time to enjoy yourself. Number 3, you want a stress-free wedding planning process. So if you're prone to stress or anxiety when dealing with detailed planning or logistics, you need to know that wedding planners manage these complexities They will reduce your stress. And it's their job to make sure all the details are covered. You're not the one up at night stressing over the finer points. Not that they will be either, because they'll be organised. They have systems in place to make sure everything's covered. They have checklists upon checklists. They have apps that they're using to prompt them, to remind them of these things. So you can rest easy knowing that it's on their shoulders. Number 4, if you're an indecisive person or you get easily overwhelmed by lots of choices, so you struggle with decision making, you might get overwhelmed by lots of options for venues, for vendors, for the different themes, different colors, your wedding planner can provide a curated list of options for you and the guidance to help narrow down these choices and make decisions quicker and easier, saving you money. Number 5, if you want a unique or highly complex wedding. So if you're looking for a wedding event with elaborate themes, it's a destination wedding, or you've got a really large guest list, your wedding planner has the resources and experience to handle the complex logistics, special requests, and ensures that you have a seamless execution. Number 6, if you've got limited wedding planning experience, and most of us do, if you're unfamiliar with event planning or you lack knowledge about wedding specifics, your wedding planner can bring the expertise of previous weddings. They can help you to navigate the planning process efficiently. It needn't take over your life. And you don't have to learn the ins and outs of wedding planning, because when are you doing this again anyway? Number 7, if you need help with budget management, because believe it or not, it's a common misconception that a wedding planner costs you money. Of course, they cost an initial outlay, but if you want to maximize your budget effectively and avoid overspending on things that you thought you needed, but you actually don't need, or certain decor elements that might not be a good bang for your buck, so to speak, your wedding planner can manage the finances. They can find cost-effective solutions for you and negotiate with vendors where applicable. So if you're an engaged couple with a demanding job and you hire a planner to manage your wedding, it helps to balance the work and planning more effectively. Or if you're a bride with a vision for a unique theme, but you don't know how to pull it together, your planner is going to help you translate your ideas into reality. And if you're a couple with a limited budget, and we're all trying to maximize our spend here, right? Then you want to ensure you get the best value for your money. So you can hire a wedding planner to manage and optimize your spending. So to flip the script here, if you have a lot of time and energy to devote to your wedding planning, if maybe you have some experience in planning gatherings, dinners or events, if you're very creative and open to being inspired as you go, but you won't feel overwhelmed by your options or any restrictions, if you're a great problem solver, you may also have contacts with wedding vendors or suppliers, and or you might just want a very casual wedding, then you may not need or even see the value in hiring your very own wedding planner. Now let's have a look at what a wedding stylist can do for you and whether your personal strengths and your current situation means that you might need them a lot or not at all. So first up, what is a wedding stylist? What is it that they're doing? So a wedding stylist focuses on the aesthetic aspects of your wedding. So they're making sure that the look and feel of your wedding has a visually appealing and, I wanted to say, uniform look. I guess that's everything complements everything else. It's not jarring to look at, to be a part of. It feels good and it also looks amazing. Their responsibilities can include conceptualizing and executing the visual theme, selecting decorations, coordinating with other vendors sometimes. Frequently, they start out with concept development. So think a mood board, theme, color palette, pulling together ideas and refining your wedding style. They'll be assessing the overall look of your ceremony and reception venues, any other venues in between, like if you're having cocktail hour at another site. They'll be looking at the layouts and the decor elements they can bring to the sites to your venues to pull it all together. So floral arrangements, floral design, lighting, ambience, furniture, anything that makes it look and feel incredible and uniquely yours as well. They will source and coordinate items like table settings, linen, furniture, props. They will coordinate with the floral designers, lighting, rental, other vendors to make sure that everything is cohesive and it fits your theme. Frequently, there's a day of execution as well as they set up the decor on the wedding day and handle any last minute adjustments or issues related to your decor. So, what kind of couple would really benefit from hiring a wedding stylist the most? Number one, if you're a design focused person. Number two, if you're a visual perfectionist. So you have a strong desire for everything to look perfect and align with your specific vision or theme, even down to the smallest things. Because a wedding stylist pays meticulous attention to detail, ensuring that every element contributes to the desired aesthetic and ambience. It's the feeling you get when you're in that space as much as how it looks. Number three, if you're lacking design confidence. So you might have ideas for your wedding's look, but lack the experience, the expertise in how to execute them and bring them to life. A wedding stylist will provide professional guidance and they'll help to refine and implement your ideas effectively. Number four, if you're short on time. So if you have a very busy schedule or other commitments, it will leave you little time to focus on designing and sourcing decor. And a wedding stylist will manage those visual aspects. They'll source the decor itself. They will have connections with wedding vendors who will coordinate the setup. It saves you significant time and effort. Number five, if you're a couple who's looking for a very unique or themed wedding, if you're interested in creating a distinctive wedding that requires specialized decor and design, let me think. Maybe a Disney themed wedding, something along those lines, or a moon and stars themed wedding. So a wedding stylist has the creative expertise, the resources, and the connections to develop and implement unique themes, making sure your wedding comes together and stands out. Number six, if you're an indecisive person or overwhelmed by lots of options, this is the thing with design options. So the multitude of decor and design choices can mean it's a struggle to make decisions on what to pick, what to book in, what to hire. Your wedding stylist will provide curated options, very clear direction. They'll simplify it for you, reducing your overwhelm. Number seven, and don't be shy if you want an Instagram-worthy wedding. If you're aiming for a wedding that looks slick, professional, and is visually appealing for photographs, for social media, for whatever your purpose is, your wedding stylist will make sure that the design is cohesive, that your wedding photographs really well, and it meets modern aesthetic standards. It's going to look awesome on Insta. And number eight, if you want to enhance the venue's natural beauty and complement what's already there at your venue rather than dramatically transform it, a wedding stylist can work with the venue's existing features. That's the very first port of call for a wedding stylist, is to go, okay, what kind of environment we're in? And they know how to highlight and enhance the natural charm with complementary decor. So if you are a creative visionary, a couple who has a unique vision for their wedding but lack the practical skills to bring it to life, if you're a very busy professional, you've got a demanding career, hiring a stylist to handle the decor details, make sure you have a stunning looking wedding that doesn't require your constant involvement. If you are an aesthetic enthusiast, a bride who is passionate about design but feels unsure about making choices, and especially if you're planning a wedding in a picturesque but remote location, a destination wedding, hiring a wedding stylist to manage the decor and logistics means that you too can enjoy your own wedding. So if you care deeply about the look and feel of your wedding, if you have some experience in pulling together mood boards in another job, in another life, you just have experience in pulling this stuff together. If you already have some connections with furniture and decor hire suppliers to work with them on the style, the numbers, the availability of items, the deliveries, and how to hire or rental items to fit into your vision. You have plenty of time to manage the detailed aspects of your decor. You're not overwhelmed by design choices, so having lots of options actually invigorates you. If you have an excellent eye for detail, so you can create a cohesive look and experience for your guests, or if you have very little need for your wedding to look a certain way, then you might just be your very own wedding stylist. But if these points are not your strengths, then booking in and trusting a professional wedding stylist to focus on the visual aspects for you will create a beautifully styled wedding that aligns with you and your fiance's vision and will also enhance the overall wedding experience for you and your family and friends. Things that bore me as a grown-up: dusting, finding the best energy company deal for our family's needs, and getting stuck in traffic. And you know what else is right up there? Changing my name after I got married. In fact, just the thought of the process and how many different companies I'd need to contact to make it happen makes me feel, at best, overwhelmed, and at worst, like I really should get stuck into the dusting. It's estimated that newlyweds spend up to 8 hours of their precious time working through the name change process, with an average of 27 places that they need to contact. This is where Easy Name Change comes in. They've been around for 15 years, continually developing and improving the most comprehensive name change services, not just in Australia, but worldwide. And their kits provide you with a sort of shopping list of companies where you simply pick which ones you need to notify. They send you a list with detailed instructions for each of your companies, saving you hours of calling around, waiting on hold, sending emails, and then waiting for a response. Easy name change kits also provide ready-to-send forms, letters, and emails, so you just attach your marriage certificate and you're done. Starting at $35, the value and time you get back is a no-brainer. For more help on changing your name after you get married, there is an excellent blog post on the Unbridely website, and I'll put a link in the show notes for you. And Unbridely podcast listeners get a $5 discount on their name change kits by using the code Unbridely5, that's UNBRIDELY5, the number 5, which is valid until the end of 2024. So don't be like me. Get your Easy Name Change kit so you can move on to the fun parts of being grown-ups together. And now, at the coalface of your wedding is the wedding coordinator. They usually come on board anywhere from a month to a week before your wedding to get an understanding of what the game plan is and are on site on the day or days. But also keep in mind that they are booked for their services months in advance, even though the actual execution happens much closer to your wedding day. Wedding coordinators are generally responsible for, and this can change between different countries and even at different venues, but usually number one, timeline management. There is a timeline of the day of when certain things need to happen, because it's a domino effect, of course. If one thing doesn't happen, let's say hair and makeup in the morning, then the transport to the venue gets held back, and then, it knocks on to everything else. So number one is timeline management. Number two is vendor coordination, confirming all the arrangements with vendors like florists, caterers, photographers, and entertainers. And on the day, wedding coordinators are usually the main point of contact for vendors. Number three, they'll coordinate arrivals, bump in, plus handle any new issues that arise. They will oversee the setup and manage the setup of the ceremony and reception venues, ensuring that things like decor, seating, and other elements are arranged, are put out, are set up according to the couple's vision. They also direct the breakdown and the bump out, so the cleanup after the event, ensuring that rental items are returned and the venue is left as well in good condition. Number four, wedding coordinators usually take care of the ceremony and reception management. So they would organise the processional, the walking in for the ceremony. They would make sure the officiant or celebrant and the participants are ready. They might also manage the reception, so coordinating key reception events, milestones like the first dance, toasts, speeches, cake cutting, making sure they all happen on schedule as much as possible with the timeline. And number 5, they are handling guest coordination as well. So as many people as you've invited to your wedding may need help with seating, directions, any special needs, and a wedding coordinator will also make sure that they're well informed and that they're comfortable. If it's a particularly hot day, a wedding coordinator will be trying to work out ways to cool everyone down, to get them in shade, to get them water, for example. And a wedding coordinator will also manage your VIPs. So special attention for people like your wedding party, your immediate family, maybe your grandparents, and helping them with their needs and schedules. Number 6, problem solving. Because as much as everything else is going on, you've got your timeline, all your ducks in a row, things crop up on a wedding day. And so your wedding coordinator is handling unforeseen issues, emergencies, vendor delays, weather changes, last minute adjustments, you name it, it keeps coming. And there needs to be someone, a point guard, if you like, to be able to handle and make decisions on the fly, which comes back to quick decision making. They need to make swift decisions to resolve problems, which makes sure there's minimal disruption to your wedding day. Number 7, a wedding coordinator often has an emergency kit with essentials like safety pins, double-sided tape, medications, and other essentials to address minor mishaps as they crop up. Number 8, a wedding coordinator is sometimes involved in the rehearsal coordination and would lead the wedding rehearsal, guiding the wedding party through the ceremony steps, making sure everyone knows their roles and timing. For me personally, I take care of that with my couples, but I know in certain circumstances, and especially in the States, frequently the officiant doesn't run the rehearsal. They will just arrive on the day and know that the coordinator has already worded everyone up about the standard ways of going through a wedding ceremony, the arrival, processional, recessional, etc. Number 9, a wedding coordinator is also acting as a liaison between all the parties. They are your advocate. They act as your representative on the wedding day, communicating your preferences and handling interactions with vendors and guests. You don't need 120 people coming up going, so what time is the cake cutting? When is the bus picking us up? And did you get my request for my vegan meal? This is what your wedding coordinator's for. And number 10, your wedding coordinator is executing your vision because the wedding planner created the blueprint, the wedding stylist made it gorgeous, and the wedding coordinator actually brings it all to life on the big day. So what type of personality would need a wedding coordinator the most? I believe a wedding coordinator is ideal for couples who need assistance with the execution of their wedding plans, especially on the big day. A breakdown of the personality types and the kind of situations that you might be in to need and to really want a wedding coordinator. If you are a detail-orientated planner, if you enjoy planning and have organised every aspect of your wedding, but you need someone to oversee the actual day, you don't want to be the point of contact on the wedding day, your wedding coordinator will make sure that all the details and plans that you've carefully put into place are executed smoothly. This will allow you to relax and enjoy the wedding day, knowing that everything is in hand. Number 2, couples who prefer to delegate day of responsibilities. So if you don't want to handle logistics or problem solving, and I don't blame you, I don't think you should, your wedding coordinator will manage the timeline, the vendor communication, and any unexpected issues, freeing you to dance the night away, to chink drinks with everyone, to have 1,000,001 photos, and smile your little face off. Number 3, if you're hosting a very large or complex wedding, an intricate wedding event with lots of moving parts and logistics to manage, a wedding coordinator will handle the complexity, making sure that all the elements come together and also addresses any challenges that arise. And this will happen when you have a larger or more complex wedding. Number 4, if you're a couple who want to fully enjoy your day. If you want to focus on celebrating with family and friends rather than managing details. I've talked quite a bit in previous episodes. I guess it's a bit of regret that I left changing from the planner of our wedding to one half of the couple getting married. I left that change way too late. And I was setting up on the day of my wedding. I didn't get to enjoy the day as a bride, as a person getting married. And yeah, to this day, and we're coming up to 10 years this year, I regret that. And so a wedding coordinator would have taken over the management of my wedding day, allowing me to be present and enjoying my wedding without distraction. Number 5, if you're a hands-on planner but just need day off support, which is what I did. If you've taken charge of the planning but recognize the need for professional help on the day itself, a wedding coordinator can step in to handle the execution, allowing you to rest assured that your plans will happen without your direct involvement. Number 6, if you're a worry-prone individual, if you tend to worry about logistics and potential issues, especially on the day, a wedding coordinator will provide you with peace of mind. They'll troubleshoot. They'll reduce your anxiety. Number 7, if you're a couple planning a destination wedding again, you might not have established relationships with vendors or familiarity with local logistics. And so a wedding vendor can manage that for you, the vendor coordination, logistics, and any other location-specific details. And number 8, if your wedding venue has limited staff support, so if you've chosen a wedding venue that does not provide an in-house coordinator or sufficient support staff, hiring an external independent wedding coordinator can step in. They can fill this gap and make sure that all aspects of your wedding are managed effectively the way you want them to be. So hiring a wedding coordinator is particularly beneficial for couples who want to ensure that their plans are put into action seamlessly without personally overseeing every detail on their wedding day. If you desire to focus on celebrating with your guests rather than managing logistics, if you've got a large or complex wedding, professional management is crucial. And if you have limited support from your wedding venue, a wedding coordinator will make sure that your vision is realised on the wedding day. They will coordinate with the vendors. They will solve any issues. They'll let you fully enjoy your special day. Are you exhausted too? That is a lot of information, but all pretty important to understand. Because while your workmates may say, oh, you've got to have a wedding planner, you may in fact not need one because of your personal needs, your expectations, your strengths, and your experience. So please have a think about what you bring to the table as your amazing self. Know that the wedding planner is mainly involved on the front end. Wedding stylist is mainly in the middle of the planning. And your wedding coordinator is towards the end and on the day. And think about where you need the most help, where maybe your personal skills and strengths aren't what's needed for those roles to happen. And, you know, in the little analogy of your wedding being a business, we want you to have a really successful business. We want you to have an amazing wedding day. And when you're walking away from your reception with your joint CEO hand in hand, we want you to feel amazing and also to have absolutely no regrets. So let me know. Let me know what you're going to do. Are you going to hire a wedding planner, a wedding stylist, or a wedding coordinator? And how are you going to put your unique skills, your unique experience and expertise, your strengths to work in your wedding? As you know, you can email me hello@unbridely.com or DM me anytime on Instagram @unbridely, and I'll be back with you next week. That about wraps it up for this episode of the Unbridely podcast. For the links and resources we mentioned, please head to the show notes. And if you love the show, please review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're on now so you don't miss out on a single episode. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, weddings are a team sport. Catch you soon.